Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on this NAVS channel. My name is Slavika Bogdanov. I created this channel to help more people understand what narcissistic abuse is, and of course, help victims to become more aware of signs and prevent more cases of narcissistic abuse and have more survivors thrive. So thanks so much for joining. Of course, you can share this video, subscribe to our channel, or come visit us in our Facebook group. It's an amazing group where we really support each other and feel, I'd say, free to share our stories without really thinking that we're crazy or that we're alone. So it's a really amazing supportive group. So I'm really happy that a lot of people are joining, and so you'll find those links below this video. And today I have Jamie with me. So hi Jamie, and thanks for joining. I really appreciate it.
Yes, I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much. So Jamie, I think you are on in our Facebook group, right?
Yes,
So don't
yes,
you
yes,
think it's so amazing how people are really
yes.
supportive of each other? And
I
I'm like,
definitely, I definitely love the fact that I can reach other women, not only my age, but that are older, that have gone through it, that can give me advice on how, because I've been, out 2 years now. So it's definitely, I still go through that every day, anxiety and depression, all because of the trauma and the abuse I went through. But it's very helpful to get support from other women that went through it and are going through it. So I do love the group, yes.
yeah, so well, thanks for being here. So tell me more about how it started and what was your experience with narcissistic abuse.
So I guess it's all got to start with me growing up. I grew up in a really good family, we all stood for each other, and then I stupidly, not stupidly, but I got pregnant at a young age. I was 16. I found out I was pregnant. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had her. She's my world, my everything. But I was a young mom, and I'm gonna admit it, I searched for a lot of love because I was young and I felt lonely. And this older guy, showed interest in me, and I thought he was the bee's knees. I was 17. I didn't listen to my dad. I wish I would have. And I wouldn't have gone through what I went through. But when we're young, we're young. And I was 17. I started seeing him, and he started right off the bat, he was classic narcissist, put me down because I had guy friends or because I had girlfriends. And it it got to a point where he was beating me almost for anything. Um, and DCFS got involved in my life because I had dropped dirty. I had an accusation against me that I was smoking marijuana, and I had dropped dirty for it. And they wanted him to take a drug test, and he wouldn't take a drug test, because he felt that, he didn't have to. And he was already beating me by this point. He had control over my whole life by this point. Um, and I'm sorry. And I had to place my daughter voluntarily with my sister, give her guardianship, because I had the chance that I would have been able to go back to my dad's house and be there every day with my daughter, but I was getting beat and I wasn't allowed to make that decision. I know some people will watch this and be like, oh, you could have just did it. He was standing behind me that whole day that I was trying to figure out what to do. And he was standing right over my shoulder when I was on the phone with the lawyers, on the phone with my family, trying to figure out he was over my shoulder. And as soon as I got off the phone with one of them, he's like, you better not leave. I swear to God, try to leave. So a lot of it was fear. I had a lot of fear with my whole situation. So I placed my daughter with my sister, thank God I did, because I went through the worst possible situations in my life because of my abuse. And I'm glad that my daughter didn't have to witness that on a daily basis, you know, because I wouldn't want her seeing her mother go through what I went through. I was with the man for 8 years, trapped in, most of those years were trapped in his parents' house, and his parents were also very, very mentally and sometimes physically abusive towards me as well. So it was a whole household of people that were abusing me. Sometimes I would be shoved in the basement, you know, not allowed to go upstairs because he didn't want me upstairs. And, you know, a lot of times people would try to reach out. He had control of my social medias. He had control of my phone. It technically wasn't even my phone. It was his phone. It was his phone. He just, you know, told people it was, you know, and he would reach out to people on my Facebook and start these conversations with them, pretending to be me. And they would respond the way he wanted them to. And he would beat me for it. And he was the one pretending to be me though in those conversations. So he was just making reasons to try and kill me. And it went on like that for many years, where the fear of leaving, because he had threatened to hurt my family. He had threatened to hurt the people around me because I wanted to leave. And I did have moments where I left and I tried to leave after being beat. My sister has pictures from years of abuse, you know, on her phone. And I'd go there and my head would be just swollen. You know, I'd be bruised and just a terrible shape. And I'd be on my dad's couch and, you know, they'd see me come home. But then later in the middle of the night, here he comes, you know, to take me. And in that moment, you know, he's sitting there threatening me, whispering grabbing me by my hair like this, whispering in my ear, "Scream, I dare you to scream." And, you know, my family's in that house. What am I supposed to do? So I'd get up and I'd leave with him, go back to the abuse, because I had that fear that he was going to hurt my family. And I love my family more than anything in the world. You know, growing up, all I had was my dad, my mom, my siblings. You know, we all leaned on each other. And my dad did most of the raising by himself. My mom's been 6 years sober from alcohol. So proud of her. But, you know, when we were growing up, you know, she had her issues. Everybody goes through something in their life. But he did it all by himself. So my family, I definitely was in fear of them being hurt while I was going through my abuse, because of the things that he did to me. And I knew what he was capable of. You know, he was gun toting, knife toting. He'd sit there right in front of you and sharpen his knife. You know, I remember being in public places with him, and even a family event or something, you know, we'd go over to my family's, you know, events, and he would allow us to go there so they would, you know, not question, you know. And we'd go there, and there he is sitting, tapping on his phone, you know, shaking his leg, looking at me with those eyes. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but the eyes, the burning right through you, like, wait until we leave, like, just wait until we're alone. And I went through a lot of mental abuse by him as well, not just the physical, you know, him putting me down, saying, "Nobody's gonna want you, nobody cares about you. Look, I'm beating the shit out of you every day, and nobody gives a fuck. Nobody's calling you to check up on you," you know. And he had the phone, so I didn't know if he was lying or not, you know. Because I was being mentally beaten, physically beaten. And at the end of it, we finally got out of his parents' house. And we moved across the street from a gas station, and we were staying with some people that he knew. And we were renting a room from them downstairs. And it was a lot of fighting going on, and I wanted to leave. He started beating me some more. He put my head through their downstairs bedroom wall on the very lower half. And the owner of the house heard it, and he came and he opened the door and he was like, what's going on? And I shot right past him. And then
Wow.
he followed me. My abuser followed me, and he dragged me down the stairs. And then the owner grabbed him and was like, no, let her go. And I ran out that door to the gas station, and, you know, I was gone. I was gone
Wow.
after that. I went to my dad's house and I never looked back. I went to the police, and because I told my sister everything, you know, I like the next day after I, you know, because I was covered. I had a stab. I don't know if you could see, I was stabbed when I
Wow.
left in the chest by machete. And I told my sister everything, you know, the day after. I laid there in her bed and I just sobbed, you know, I sobbed. I said, what? And I kept saying, what did I do? Like, all I did was, you know, try to love. What did I do wrong? You know, that's what was going through my mind the day after I had left. You know, I was blaming myself for almost dying. And, you know, it comes and goes, you know, where I blame myself still to this day, because I was very young, and it makes me depressed. You know, I think about it a lot. Like, I'm sorry. I should have just, you know, but that fear of him, because of
No,
what he
look,
did to me,
it's not,
the
and
fear
it's
of
not,
what he did to me, and the threats that he made, that he said he was going to do to everybody else around me if I tried to leave. And I knew what he was capable. That fear just eats at you and eats at you. But I want women to know that they can make it out, and they can just leave. Just leave. And the first thing you do, don't wait a day like I did. Call the police as soon as you leave. As soon as you leave, call the police, please, because the police took pictures of my whole body, bruised, battered, everything. And they chose not to go through with the charges for some reason. But all the evidence was there.
wow.
To me, that's crazy. You know, medical reports, pictures, everything was there, all the evidence, and the charges didn't go through. So it was I didn't get justice, but I want to help women that have gone through similar situations like me, you know,
I'm really
because
sorry for everything
it's
you've gone through. It's
thank you so
um,
much.
it's really it's heartbreaking. And please don't blame yourself ever, because you know you cannot judge. You did the best that you could with the information you had. And you know, I've been there. I mean, we all go there where we are so reduced to nothing that we really believe that there's no other option. We sincerely believe what the abuser tell us, because after hearing it again and again for years, and it doesn't take years, to when we're isolated, we can't compare, we can't talk to anybody because everything's controlled, and we cannot share anything because even if we would share, we think, well, nobody's going to believe me. I'm the crazy one. I might be inventing. Maybe I'm exaggerating all of this. Maybe it's not as bad as I think it is. So we really are gaslighted, and we start believing everything that the abuser tell us. Yeah, maybe I'm the one who caused it. Maybe it was my fault after all. Maybe if I did this differently. Maybe if I didn't say this. Maybe if I acted. So we become we feel guilty of the
Yeah.
abuse, which, and you have to really, you know, it's a day-to-day process, but it's important to realize that the person you were then is no longer the person you are now.
Correct. Yep.
And you did something extraordinary, courageous to give your child to be protected and safe. So you did something outstanding in the midst of all this craziness that was happening to you, to still have that, you know, that smart mind and heart. And that's what you should praise. You know, that's what you should admire in yourself. Say, wow, I was a kid having a kid and being abused, and I still had the intelligence and the love to give my child, which takes an enormous amount of courage. So you need to really congratulate yourself for that. And I really mean it. Um, and I'm interested, maybe it will help our audience to know, when you met him, he wasn't this savage, correct? So
He
what
was.
made you like be interested in this
So what
horrible
made me be interested in him is the fact that I was young, and I felt like a lot of boys that I had, interacted with just played me, and, didn't want that to give me that love back. And that was a lot of it, like my father of my child, he's a great guy now. Like, through his life he went through a lot of stuff, but back then, I couldn't get the time of day, so I think that I reached out to somebody who was sitting there, telling me every day I was beautiful, telling me, I deserve to be treated like this. And I'm what he always said, "Oh, you're my coal, and I'm gonna, turn you into a diamond," or something. He'd say stuff like that, and like I was young, so hearing stuff, and then it was like not even 6 months into living with him that the beatings started. So, yeah.
And I guess there's also the isolation usually of, divided you from your friends and family, so he can control you better, correct? Before
Yep.
it escalates.
Yep.
How long have you been? 2 years out
Two
of
years.
this relation? 3 years?
Yep. Yep. I am in a current relationship. I've been with him for a year and a half. A year and a half I've been with my current boyfriend, and I've known him for like 15 years. He grew up 2 blocks away from my dad's house. His parents still live in the same spot. My parents still live in the same spot. So, we already were friends, and when I was in my situation, he actually had reached out, to see how I was doing, and my abuser had seen the message or whatever, and he had gone. That was one of those conversations. He pretended to be me, and he got a rise back, and I got beat for it, and he knew, so he knows what I went through, and he's very supportive. He's a very great guy, my boyfriend now, so I love
Well,
him.
that's a good end to that story, to know that there's a positive outcome. I'm really, really happy. I'd like to know, what on your good days, because we all have bad days. We all have that, we've all been it's real trauma. You've been through so much trauma that, it doesn't just go away, of course. And we all go through these ups and downs. And the problem with, I called him the devil. The problem with the devil is they have good sides too. And so that's the horrific part. If they were just like a devil, we could point
Right.
them and know and say, I'll never go that way. But because they have this charismatic personality that brings you all the way up before they crush you all the way down, it's almost kind of an addictive personality.
Yep.
And so what I'd like to know is, how do you, like, what advice would you give, or what are the ways that you use to cope daily, or to bring yourself back to out of, the dark moments, or what are your strategies that you use?
A lot of times, if I'm feeling down, I reach out to my mom a lot. You know, uh, because and my dad, my parents. That's what gets me through, and my brother and my sister. I call her too a lot, and I leave voicemails telling her I love her, because in the end I realized, my family is what saved me, because my daughter, saved me, they realizing that I can have a life where I can live freely with my family and my daughter. You know, that's what helps me get through every day and helps me remember I was strong enough to get out of it for them, you know, for my daughter, to be in her life constantly, you know, to be there without a worry of her getting hurt or my family getting hurt. That's what I keep reminding myself every day to make me feel better, you know, about how sad I am about the past, about what I went through. I just think, you know, look at me now. I get to spend that time with them. I get to talk to them. I get, you know, I get to work. I get to, you know, do whatever I want. I'm free, you know. I don't
Yeah,
have
you're
somebody.
out of hell.
Yep. That's what gets me through, honestly, just knowing that I made it, that God helped me get through it. He lifted me up out of that dark place and he helped me see the light. So, and he continues to do so every day. Every day I wake up, you know, I feel sad. I will say that. I wake up and I feel sad every day. But, you know, I take that second and I thank God, because if you thank God every day, it's easier to get through every day. It is. That's
I
something
do
that,
believe that. Amen to that. Yes, and it's good to remember, I think, for everybody watching, that everyone has a support system. So it's important, I think, to really reach out to your support system, because they will patch you back up. they'll they'll cover you with love and they'll patch you back up so that you can walk again and feel free and be better. How old is your daughter now?
she is 10, she'll be 11 in May, and
Oh,
she's
that's so
everything. I'm in the process of discharging the guardianship from my sister back to myself. So,
nice.
and I can support her fully. You know, there's a school right behind my house she'd be going to. You know, I've been in her life, her whole life. I've been mom, you know, but, you know, she wants to live with me now. I want her, you know, to live with me full time now. So, going through that
That's nice.
process, and, you know, I'm happy that the way life's going, you know, sometimes I kick myself a lot, you know, but that's when, you know, I got to thank God for what I do have, you know.
Yes, and you're still so young. I mean, it's so amazing. You're a young mom, and that is beautiful because you'll have a daughter slash best friend, which is quite
Yes.
for her too. I mean, it's gonna be fabulous to be able to, to continue having you in her life for so long. So,
Yes.
um, and I think you can, now that you have this experience, you can prevent it to for her, make sure that she understands, she can see the signs.
Yes.
And I think it's also, when we're young, we're rebelling about everything our parents say. So as a parent, I think it's important to build such
Communicate.
a deep communication and trust.
Communication where your child can trust you to tell you anything. That's what I want, you know, and I do have that with my daughter. She tells me anything and everything, and I never judge her for what she asks, what she says to me, because that's how a mother-daughter relationship's supposed to be. She's supposed to be able to come to me before she goes to everyone else, you know, because I'm gonna protect her with every ounce of me, every ounce of me, you know.
Yeah, and you've proven that. I really appreciate you sharing. It's such a heartbreaking moment in your life, but then here you are, and I'm really happy you came. I have one last question. What would you like to leave as an advice for our audience? What would you tell either people who are in a relationship or dating someone that perhaps might be too good to be true, or just came out? What would be the advice that you'd like to share?
If you're going through it, please get out. You do have help all over. There's resources everywhere. If you got out, I'm so proud of you and you can get through it. I know it's hard. Every day is going to be hard, but you just got to keep going, because if you stop, then you go back to that dark place and you're better, you're beautiful, you're strong, you can make anything happen in your life if you just do it. You know, I just want you guys all to be safe and protected, and your children to be protected, and your lives to thrive and not to be controlled. You know, and especially the young women who are in the situation that I was in, know that there is always going to be somebody who will love you. And it doesn't need to be that person who is breaking you down. Okay? There's millions of people in this world. And that person who's breaking you down is not the person that loves you. They're not. They're not the person that loves you. They're not. So I just hope that you get out of your situation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jamie, for that. Yes. Love is not hurt. Love is support. Love is respect. Love is communication. Love is time. Love is caring. Love is honest, right? Love is integrity.
Yes,
So love doesn't hurt. So if love hurts, it's not love. Just get out.
correct. Yes.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it very much. And
Thank
thank you
you.
all thank you, Jamie. Thank you, everybody, for watching this broadcast. Please share so that we can share the message, bring more awareness. There's so many people right now that are living what Jamie just described, and it breaks my heart to know that. So please share the video because you might be saving a life. Maybe someone will see this video in hiding somewhere. I'll know that they can get out, they can run out, they can find help and survive and live and thrive. So please share this video, subscribe to our channel, come join our Facebook group. It's really a supportive group, a safe place where you don't feel crazy or alone. I'm Slavika Bogdanov. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I hope to see you all very soon. Thank you. Have a great day.